And a year after promising a change in tone,
we can join forces, stop the shouting, and lower the temperature.
President Biden has failed so far to do that.
Do you want to be on the side of Dr. King or George Wallace? Do you want to be on the side of John Lewis or Bull Connor?
So much for unifying the country.
Perhaps the president went a little too far in his rhetoric.
Yeah, that's bad as hell.
No, throw that back on.
That's bad as hell, dog. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. It's a Monday. Snowy and cold and freezing and stuff in many places.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you look on TikTok, some people are in like fantasy lands and out on the beach and stuff. So, you know, it is what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you the Godfather of radio, Mr. Hutch Bailey, Mr. Hutch Bailey Jr., the Godfather of many.
Hello,
radio.
everybody from the Kinzu Country Studio B up in the mountains. It's snowy out there.
And further north is the Angel, Miss Angel Fleming. What's up, Angel?
Hi, everyone. Staying warm and toasty inside, hot chocolate. Baby, it's cold outside.
You know, the left tried to take that song away.
Oh my gosh.
Didn't work.
Tried to cancel it.
It didn't
I
work.
know.
Right.
It's made it more popular. I love how the left, every time they try to censor something or cancel it, it just makes it more popular.
Yeah.
Let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon.
Well, today in history, Benjamin Franklin was born in 1706. Hawaii's monarchy is overthrown by businessmen and sugar planters in 1893. Betty White was born today. Popeye appeared in a comic for the first time. Germany's right issued an order forbidding Jews to practice as doctors, veterinarians, and dentists today. The Brinks robbery in Boston, you might know something about that. $2 million in cash, which is $29 million in today's money. That happened in 1950. The Brinks robbery. And Khrushchev visits the Berlin Wall, Soviet Union's in 1963. Wait, is that right? Oh, I saw something about a Marie Antoinette 10-year challenge. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what? I think this happened on Friday. I think I found out on Friday. Mike Lindell. Yeah, I'm jumping right to this because this could affect many of us later on down the road. We don't know. Mike Lindell, the owner of MyPillow, is his banks called him or called his reps to basically say, listen, we're not cutting you. We're not stopping you from, but we want you to stop yourself. We want you to close your accounts because, you know, we don't want our name out there and stuff. And, you know, we don't want to, they were trying not to be the bad fella, but they turned out to be the bad fella. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And Mike basically said he ain't canceling nothing. So it's probably going to be on the banks to do what they got to do. But Mike Lindell said, I ain't doing nothing. And then on Saturday during the event, he called out, he called out everybody. Actually, Mike Lindell called out the media. He called out the Fox News. He called out anybody that he can get his voice on. He called him out.
He called out Fox quick, didn't he?
Yes,
like right at the top of the list. I was like, whoa, man, he's mad.
And you know, he look with all the money that he's advertisement and stuff like that, you would think, I mean, Fox News, Fox News gives to the highest bidder anyway, but they didn't do anything for Mike.
No.
No.
They even deplatformed him for a while. They wouldn't have him on the show, on any of the shows, rather.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. And also President Trump was out in Arizona over the weekend. And it is what it is.
Did
President,
you watch it?
Huh?
Did you watch it?
No, I fell asleep.
Classic way.
I watched a lot of it. I needed it. I don't know. I'm not that guy, but I kind of needed that, man, right at that time, because one of the things that happened there, the narrative changed a little bit. My man mentioned Fauci.
Mm-hmm.
Lock him up. Lock him up. I mean, the crowd went Hillary Clinton on Fauci.
And I just wonder, I mean, it's always great to see a rally and see, our folks turn out in such large numbers. And I do like Carrie Lake, and I do like what she represents. And I'm glad that Trump went out and stumped for her in that way. But all these chants, what have they amounted to over the past 6, 7, 8, 9? I mean, going back to when we started, we've been chanting and hooting and hollering since it began. And what has it done? But
kept me saying.
It got us.
That's what
It's kept us sane, right? Because every time we feel, especially in isolation after lockdowns, we wonder: are we in an echo chamber? Are we isolated? Are we an island? So it is nice to hear that we have strength in such numbers, but all it has done has given the federal government cause to label us insurrectionists, terrorists, white supremacists. I mean, anybody's a terrorist unless you're a Muslim who's taken over a synagogue over the weekend. And that's just coincidence. That's a guy with a weird British accent who had nothing
From
against
Britain.
you.
Yeah.
Nothing
one
against
person
you.
even called him a white supremacist.
Oh my gosh.
I'm looking at a picture of the guy right now. He's not a white supremacist.
I mean, we keep saying it. It's a running theme through all of this. It's 1984. You can look at it. It quacks like a duck. It walks like a duck. And they will still tell you, this is not what you're seeing. This is not what you're seeing. Do not believe your eyes. Do not believe your ears. So anyway, yeah, I'm glad that Arizona's rally went the way it did. I mean, they were turning people away, right? And I think, Wayne, I think I saw you post on social media, most rock concerts wish they'd have turnouts like this.
Yeah.
And seeing these turnouts makes the federal government very scared. It makes the establishment very scared, which just makes them squeeze on us just a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. And that's why like when Hutch talks about what happened at the Capitol and stuff, about how it wasn't no insurrection because they didn't have any weapons, but you can see how afraid politicians are so Billy Badass when they think the American people are not looking and caring about what they're doing in Washington, D.C. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. There's three things.
There's like they got their chests out and they can do whatever they want to. But when you see us climbing the walls to get in, then they're afraid. So then when they see these large events and stuff that Trump has, then they realize, do you know what's gonna happen next? It's like, if you were doing the right thing, you wouldn't have to worry about it.
That's right. You think about it. How long do you think that people, especially, and Angel, you're right about it. It's not getting anything tangible done. But I'll tell you, when you see that kind of a rally, when I see that kind of a rally, I know I'm not alone. When I see the whole crowd flip out the same time that I'm flipping out, that to me, that tells me this is only going to go on so long. People are only going to allow 1% of the 1% elite to tell me I have to wear a mask, and my children do, but they don't. And they're going to let all these people in from the South and with no restrictions at all. And I think where we're at, you say about Wayne them being afraid. I read a quote this morning, getting ready for the show over on the American Thinker, that a smart man is afraid of three things. He's afraid of being on the sea in a storm. He's afraid of a moonless night. And he's afraid when the gentle man gets angry. And that's what that wall is, getting put up around the White House, because the White House knows, and the people at the Fed know, that steak is about ready to be $50 an ounce.
If you can get your hands on it at all.
Yeah, that's true.
Or right, exactly.
And again, over the weekend, with the snow coming in and everything, you expect the shelves, people to be buying a whole lot of food and stuff, but there was no food to be bought on the shelves when the snow thing happened, because so many of the supply chain, so many supermarkets are running out of food. They're not stocking food.
It looks like Venezuela out there.
Yeah, no, I mean, it really looks like you. Okay, you know what, Angel, this might be before your time. Well, actually, it is before your time. But Hutch, you remember back in the early '80s when Russia, when we saw pictures of Russia, and it was cold, but their shelves didn't have nothing on it.
No, people would get in line when they saw a line.
Yeah.
And then they'd see what was at the other end when they got to it. And there'd be like 2 pieces of meat or a freaking a loaf of bread or something. Yeah, we actually saw that in school. They showed us those. And they actually used to teach you about the evils of communism.
Right. And it's like, listen, that's what communism is. And that's what but look what we have. We have all this. We have great stuff. Look what they don't have. So why in the world would our leaders want to go where what they saw was basically people suffering? Is because the people at the top in Russia, I am healthy. People at the top in Russia were wealthy. Everybody else was like dirt poor. Poor, beyond poor and below poor. And look at things today. I mean, I can't remember the name of the store, but they were making their minimum wage $18, $19. I was like, what the hell? What the hell?
That's going to contribute to that steak price.
That's just inflation. I mean, everybody thinks they're getting more money in their pockets. No, that's just how much the dollar has devalued. Yeah. Every time you get a pay increase, it's not even representing the 7% inflation that we're at now, which is the highest since 1982. I mean, Joe Biden is doubling down on every negative milestone he can possibly get his hands on. And it is scary because we're now seeing in real time the elite, the establishment, they want to tear down the walls at the border, but build the walls around the Capitol, right? They don't want to isolate the country. They don't want to isolate or protect the country. They want to isolate and protect themselves. This just feels so much like the Hunger Games at this point. The Capitol is just the wealthy, ridiculous people with the super high eyebrows, Nancy Pelosi. They live in this stupid little clown mirror, and they're all just kissing each other's butts behind these cement walls and armed personnel, while the rest of us are going to be fighting over a chicken nugget.
I think they underestimated the American people. I mean, people in the cities that are deep in the cities and that are helpless anyway. And I know we all know them. They're out there. They call the police when they call an ambulance when they have a stomach ache. These guys, that maybe not them, but in the rest of the country, the people I know, the people I talk to, they're not going to suffer this that long. I mean, this isn't going to be perpetual. I don't think. I think that there's going to be a finite end to this. That I don't know what it is, but I guess it's. I think we're about ready to watch the next chapter in history, and I don't mean that just strictly the American chapter, American history. I'm talking about the whole damn world. I mean, you look at what's going on, and look how quickly the government seized on tyranny with this COVID. Who would have ever thought that Australia would be the new Nazi Germany? I mean, that stuns me.
I mean, Australia is just reaching back to its prison island roots. I mean, at the end of the day, the Queen's territories are showing exactly who they are, right? When all is said and done, every single territory that belongs under the monarch will submit to her. And everybody thinks that the Queen is just this novel title that has no power anymore. Yeah. Look at what's happening in Australia. Look at the history of what Australia was. Look at Canada. Look at the history of Canada. They're not America light. They are a territory of Britain, and the Queen owns them. The Queen owns Australia, and you're going to see, you're going to see history repeating itself when the masses are hungry. Look at what happened to Ireland. We talked about this last week.
Yeah.
When the masses are hungry, they look out for themselves, these elitists. They hold on to this land and claim it as their own. I mean, we can even talk about in America, the amount of federally owned land that now exists. You know, they're grabbing all of our lands, they're grabbing all of our resources, and they're going to hoard it for who they deem fit for it. And as far as Australia and Canada are concerned, they're a police state now because they don't want an uprising that will get the Queen involved. And so we should all see this as a signifier of what's to come, because it's happened in history before.
Yeah. I mean, you look at Western Europe, and even America in a way. You saw this terrorist incident, and the default position was, oh, that wasn't a terrorist. We don't know what that was. That the world is going back to its default position of 70 years ago of anti-Semitism. Mm-hmm. The whole damn world. I mean, this is, you're right. History is repeating itself. This is the end of World War II right now. This is where we've come after all that happened. It actually started in World War I when they redrew all the sites. I forget the name of the treaty, but they redrew all the countries, all the maps. It's like Afghanistan, Pite-Seco, what was it called? Anyway, it doesn't matter. It was a bunch of French and Englishmen that drew the maps of Arab countries. And so Afghanistan is Afghanistan to us, but not to the people that live there.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard that. I've heard that about the maps in Africa too. I've heard that about a lot of stuff that is outside of the United States of America. If you haven't traveled outside the United States of America, it's an eye-opening experience. I am here to tell you. It is, because you know how we talk about how DC is the bubble, and you know how the leaders live in a bubble. Americans, sorry to say, Americans live in a bubble too, because
an arrogant bubble at times.
Right. And you have to look at, and probably many people don't see it like this, but you have to look at the media and what they push out, because to us, we'll just, we don't watch it, whatever, I don't care. But, they're fake news and whatnot. But they're broadcasting globally. They are broadcasting their narrative globally. So if they are showing the police beating down on black people, that's what's getting shared globally. Okay. If they're showing right-wing type of individuals going nuts crazy, that's what they're doing globally. And it's like, who is it? Ain't it? One American News, DirecTV. DirecTV is just taking OAN right off. That's it.
Yeah.
And you would think, Hutch, Angel, you would think with all the freaking goddamn money that these people raise, that they could create a network with the FCC or whatnot, however they do it. But you would think that they would be able to create a network that is sustainable, that they don't have to piggyback on a liberal type of way of communications. Because these liberals, I wasn't in the room, but maybe these liberals, come on in. Oh man, we're gonna raise some money with you. But they can pull the rug out at any moment, whenever they want to. They don't care. And it can't be about money. It can't be about money.
I read
cutting voices. That's it.
I read somewhere that the number of restrictions that the federal government imposes on us today, that Steve Jobs never would have become Steve Jobs in today's world, right? And so what they're doing is they're letting their friends in and closing the door behind them with regulations and restrictions. So all that we have for utilities and cable at this point is all there ever will be, right? And you talk about DirecTV and their censorship of OAN and dropping them, banks dropping private business owners like Mike Lindell. You're seeing this, and they're all arguing, well, they're private entities, and it's their First Amendment right to do this.
Right.
And so, at some point, America really has to look at how do we reset? They're trying to reset on us, right? It's a great reset, but we need to reset right back, because they have made it so impossible to start any new ideas. The free market is not free. Whoever is out there telling you that what we're experiencing right now is free market capitalism, they are lying to you for a reason. Because you can't just start a company today. You can't just start a telecommunications organization today. You can't. I mean, Donald Trump, Mike Lindell, and all those others, they are trying. You're seeing new social medias popping up every single day. You're seeing all of these entities popping up, but then they're not catching on. They're being silenced. They're being taken down. They're being deplatformed. They're being broken in the banks. And this all points to the social credit system that conspiracy theorists have been warning about. Mm-hmm. But it's literally happening right now, and everybody's just twiddling their thumbs, not paying attention, because it hasn't happened to them personally yet, right? And back to what Hutch was saying about how this is like the culmination of World War II, what we're seeing right now. I just wanted to touch upon that because I find it so interesting. Okay, Israel was drawn on that map, refounded after World War II, right? Yeah. And the premise was to protect Israel, to give them a safe haven, a place where they would never fall under tyranny like that again, where they can rule themselves, right? But let's put it right in the middle of all of their enemies. Everybody wants to hate them. We're going to put it right there. And that's fine, because
have you ever looked at that map? I look at that map and I'm like, you guys are my heroes, man.
Oh my gosh.
You got the sea on one side and the Arab world on the other side.
I know.
And you're as big as Rhode Island.
And the thing is nothing made me, nothing gave me heart palpitations more than watching Israel. The irony just can't be lost on people who know history. The people of Israel are being experimented on by their own government right now. Literally what they were founded for, they are now violating. Israel is the experimental hub for big pharma right now. They're all lining up to get their fourth shots, right? And Zev Zelenko sat down, Dr. Zev, who came up with the Zelenko protocol, who treated Donald Trump, he sat down with rabbinical leaders from Israel and warned them exactly of what they were doing, that you are experimenting on your own people. You are violating the very foundation of the country for which it stands. And these people are overrun with COVID. They're dying at astronomical numbers. And I'm just thinking to myself, Adolf Hitler must be rolling in his grave wondering how he didn't come up with this first. They're basically put in their own ghettos at this point, voluntarily, because they think, just like we were talking about last week, they think their country can't change, just like we used to think America can't change. It will forever be the amazing country that was founded for us. But now look at them.
You know what? Are we stupid to have thought that America could never change in the direction that it's going?
I mean, I think we taught ourselves that, but look at the Pledge of Allegiance, forever and ever. I mean, it's some of our patriotic things are all geared toward, we're going to be here forever, but we can only be here forever when we adhere to the Constitution. We've so destroyed that.
Isn't it funny how they slowly, secretly shut down patriotism in the country?
Yeah, and it started in grade schools.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, in the late 70s, yeah.
I mean, it created adults that are not patriotic by starting in grade school back then.
yes.
Right. Yeah, okay.
You know,
I
now
mean, the
you've got
Department of
people-
Education.
Yeah, well, yeah.
and the teachers unions. Let's
Yeah,
be
the
honest.
Department of
70s.
Education. The
Late
founding of
70s.
the Department of Education was the death nail, right? Because
1973. It's not been
Yeah.
around that long either.
Yeah.
right, you have
Yeah.
the federal government now in control of the minds of the children, and we're now seeing today how horrific that is. Because
Yeah.
sure, when I was coming up in the 80s, I had very patriotic teachers who told us, glossed over periods of history that just made us get all the warm and fuzzies. But they're not warning you about central banking, international interests, the corrosion of our elected officials from the inside out. 9/11 took everyone by surprise. We thought it could never happen. For those of you who were young,
We didn't see it.
yeah,
We-
if you were too young to remember 9/11 or were born after it, to be an adult experiencing 9/11, that was the moment where all of that fell from my eyes. The scales fell from my eyes in that moment. All that I thought about America changed with 9/11. And then right afterwards, the Patriot Act, right? 9/11 was the
and I
premise for
gotta
the
admit-
Patriot Act.
And you got to admit, well, I'm not saying you got to admit, I got to admit that I was for it at the time. At the time, I was mad, man. I was ready to go kill somebody. And I'm like,
I was for it.
we got to back ourselves up. Okay. And I, like a fool, I had faith in George W. Bush, just to give people the feeling of 9/11 if you didn't experience it. Why isn't my cell phone working? My cell
Yeah.
phone won't work.
Yeah.
I can't call my wife.
Yeah, I remember that day. I remember that day like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Because the way they did it, by how long it took the second one to show up. The first one, the New Yorkers saw. We didn't see it. We just heard about it. And what, as human, we're gonna be like, what's happening? Turn it on. Let me see. So we're watching one, with all this smoke coming from the building, one of the largest buildings in America. We're watching it, and god darn, there's another plane. What's that doing?
And they didn't know what was in the first plane yet. They were saying that was a Cessna.
Right.
Until you
Yeah, it
saw
was a
that
freak
black smoke
accident.
coming out of
Yeah.
it.
I thought the second plane was a replay until I saw live at the bottom.
Yeah.
And then, and that's the thing is, for those of you who don't remember, the World Trade Center, those twin towers, was the international icon for Americans' free market capitalist system.
Yep.
And to watch that fall to the ground was, I'm getting chills again, just chilling.
Yeah.
Chilling. We all knew immediately. We all froze. All of us. I can't speak for you guys, but I bet all froze. We're at war.
Oh man,
Who
I was
are
working.
we at war with?
I was working for the Army Reserve that day, and we were down in West Virginia visiting a maintenance facility. Me and this other guy, and it was like, shit. Come on, let's go. We got to get back to headquarters, man.
Yeah.
We're flying back through. We were driving like cops.
Mm-hmm.
You get back there, and everything, like you said, everything changed, man. They armed all the Army Reserve guys at every Army Reserve center was armed.
Yeah.
Right away, right now.
Yeah. Nothing's ever dropped
and
below
was,
FPCon Bravo since then.
Yeah.
It's always been some level of FPCon, which it wasn't prior to 9/11.
You know what you talk about when they fell? Probably to this day, I never thought that they would fall. I thought that they would be able to blow the water out. And so I never thought that they would fall for some reason. I thought that they could have enough water up there and they, fire, put the fire out.
Well, see,
they
did though, they were diabolical, man. They went and topped those fuel tanks off.
Yeah, they filled up the fuel tanks.
They made it so it was the shortest possible distance from where they were to New York to their targets, so they wouldn't burn up that much fuel.
Yeah.
So that was all
the biggest
diesel fuel.
Incendiary device that you could create.
Horrible, man.
And now we're going to
wings,
probably
all the wings.
I don't want to pull in the conspiracy theorists into the chat right now. I don't.
Thank you.
But I will say this. I'm not a seismologist. I am blonde. Okay, so everybody can correct me. But I was 21 years old when 9/11 happened. And I remember watching it live on TV when the second tower was hit. And I remember thousands of people were running towards the building. You could see them running, news cameras. I remember one guy, it's the first time I heard a swear on live TV. Some guy yelled, "Where the F is my son?"
Mhm.
Like, I heard that and like, and I remember thinking to myself, both of these very tall buildings were just hit by the largest planes that could ever possibly hit them in a no-fly zone. Those buildings are about to crumble. I thought that I thought everybody standing around, and I thought, why are you standing so close? Those buildings are about to crumble. They both were structurally shook. They were not designed to be hit with planes like that. I mean, you could, these engineers, they'll test for maybe the one-off earthquake within reason. They'll test for extreme weather, maybe a meteor. I don't know. But two fully packed, gassed up planes.
Yeah.
I mean, how could you put a stamp on that as an engineer? I mean, that's something that's worse than any force majeure that anybody could conjure up.
To visualize it, you look how wide the wingspan is.
Yeah.
There was fire that wide.
Yeah.
Yep.
Inside those buildings, there was fire the length of the wings.
I
didn't think so either, but thinking back on it now, I can understand.
I don't know why I did. I don't know why I did. Instinctively, I as I was watching it live, I said to myself, these people need to get away from this building. It's about to fall. Like, it's about to crumble.
I didn't think about the people getting away from the building until I saw it start to come down. I was like, oh man, those people.
See, I was thinking about the people that were above the fire.
I thought about them too.
I was a volunteer firefighter. I'm thinking, God darn, man, these poor bastards. And then I'm thinking they're dead. They're never getting out. There's no way, unless they start putting a Chinook helicopter on the roof.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way they're getting out because nobody's going to get through that fire to get to them. I mean, you're just not going to physically get through it. I don't care what you wear.
Here's
but the
a
people jumping out the windows, the people jumping out the windows is what got me.
Yeah. What reminded me of that was the Afghanistan withdrawal when people were holding on to the planes. I got that same exact feeling.
Except these guys were 80 feet up, 80 floors up, not 80 feet, 80 floors. They were coming through the tarps.
I didn't
splashing on the ground.
I didn't, and I saw that video.
Awnings, I mean.
I saw that video maybe a couple of months later.
They should play that every damn night. They should play that. I mean, the TV stations don't sign off anymore. But damn, I'm old.
I mean,
the national anthem and then the sign off screen.
The Air Force jet flying.
I do remember
and touch the arms of God.
I do remember that because look, if that one came on, I would still be in front of the TV just like this. That's the only thing that
and there was one other thing. There was one other thing when the planes hit, a bunch of stuff got ejected out of the building. And I remember hearing this story, a week or two later about this neighborhood. And I don't know the geography of New York City. Don't really want to know it, but it's another neighborhood adjacent to where the World Trade Center is, like pretty far away. And these people are in the neighborhood and they're hearing stuff hitting their roofs, and they're seeing stuff coming down in front of their houses out in their street. And here it was body parts and paperwork from the building and landing on their houses, landing in the tree branches and whatnot. Mm-hmm. I mean, surreal. And then when they finally did collapse, that wall of dust and these people trying to outrun it. And I'm thinking, what if you have a shop or a restaurant or something, and you've got literally thousands of people running past your shop dying? When do you lock the door?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because people are trying to get inside.
Yeah.
As the dust is coming,
Yeah. I also remember that video too. Somebody had got away from the window, and they had the camera on their front window, and all you saw was that dust, that dust storm. It was light, and then all of a sudden, whoosh.
And that's not just color. I mean, you could wipe that off. It was all over everybody's face. Remember?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And their hair.
Yeah. It looked like Mount Vesuvius.
Yeah,
it really
yeah.
did. It was
Mount St. Helens.
Mount St.
And-
Helen. Yeah.
And so here, I just think, going back to your question, Wayne, are we stupid for believing? I just think this whole story that we were just talking about 9/11, I think we caught on maybe too late at that moment in time. For those of us who are adults, we caught on at that moment in time. Whoa, we've been taking something for granted. And even not placing blame, I'm just saying, even the folks that were serving in the military at that time were taken aback by an attack on American soil in this way. And so then what happened immediately before we could gather our pieces and figure out what the heck happened? The federal government came right out and said, Patriot Act. And we all stupidly thought, well, of course, I've got nothing to hide. We need to find these terrorists.
Right.
But we believed them. They said
innocent
it was going to
American
expire,
people.
remember?
Yes, and they've been renewing it and renewing
and
it.
we
It's
thought they
still
were
not
going to
dead
go with that.
to this day. It's still not dead to this day, even with Donald Trump as president, even when the Republicans controlled all forms of the government, never went away. So to me, we're wide awake now, right? And there are people catching on every single day. To me, what makes me most concerned is you take a moment like 9/11, where a lot of Americans just didn't know better and said, fine, Patriot Act. Fine, Patriot Act. Mm-hmm. But then the children born post 9/11 only knew that world, only knew the world where we would sacrifice everything for safety rather than sacrifice everything for freedom.
And then let me expand on the stupidity question that I had for you. Are Americans that tuned out to have seen their freedoms be taken away from them for the last few decades? Because, many people will get on social media right now and say, we can't allow our freedoms to be taken. A lot of our freedoms have been taken. They have been taken, whether people want to believe them or not, whether it's from the government or whether it's from businesses or whether it's from, our different points of freedom, unless you are off grid and you are in a cabin far, far away,
with a cabin coffee cup.
I just look at things a whole lot differently than other people, separately from politics. And I was like, oh, damn, we can't do this and we can't do that. Well, we can't do that either. But we can't do this without some sort of approval or, what happened to the freedom? What are we trying to save if these freedoms have been taken away? And it's happening over decades. It just didn't happen. It's been happening.
Oh, yeah. And anybody who thinks that we still have the same freedoms today as we did pre 9/11, try going into the DC Capitol right now to take pictures like a tourist. You can't do it. You can't do it. Try getting on a plane. You know what? Try going into a store in the city of Boston right now without wearing a mask and see how far it gets you.
Really? You have a mask mandate up there?
Well, I'm not in Boston anymore, but yes, the city of Boston has a vaccine passport mandate.
I would be gone. I would move.
Oh yeah, I left a long time ago. But family that's still back home, I didn't leave Boston. Boston left me, right? And so
I see those
signs. That's how my family's starting to see it. The mayor of Boston implemented on the 15th of January, so 2 days ago, a vaccine passport where you had to upload your personally identifiable information, your driver's license, your vaccine, all of the information you could possibly need into a government application that you have to show to businesses. And then the rest of Massachusetts has their own.
They're going to turn people into outlaws, man. That's what I'll do.
Well,
I'll be an outlaw. I won't do that.
Right now, like most people, what they're just doing is, I'm just going to vote with my feet. I'm getting out of here. I'm getting out of Dodge, right? So everybody, all of my family, they're now looking to move to Florida or come up here to the live free or die state, or they're moving elsewhere. I mean, heck, even Virginia's looking pretty good right now. But
West Virginia's looking great. That's where I'm moving.
Mm-hmm.
And then let me say something about Virginia and Florida, because you went with us to CPAC. Mm-hmm. Okay, and
you remember me? They tried to arrest me for not wearing a mask.
think about what you just said though. They tried to get you
Florida.
wearing a mask in Florida, but DeSantis gets on and says, "Nope, it's open state. We don't have no."
Yeah, and that's what's
mask.
pissing me off about these governors that are laying claim to such amazing turnouts in their states and all of that. Yeah, the private corporations are doing the dirty work for these governors because while Governor DeSantis does not have a mask mandate and he says he's going to prosecute any state agency that imposes a mask mandate, the private businesses can do whatever the hell they want. And so every Marriott, period, dot, across the board, you could not get into these hotels without wearing a mask. I mean, I did, and I know a few people who did. But you're really getting in a fight with like the 19-year-old pimple face, snot-nosed kid who's like, I'm just,
I think this is where we win, though.
But
I do. I refuse to back down and not fight this.
Right.
But I'm not talking about fighting. I'm talking about exposing these people that are coming out here saying that they're doing all this and they really aren't doing it, because Youngkin did put this executive order in place. It's not law, it's an executive order
for the
schools.
Yeah.
But in listening to WTOP today, the schools and stuff said he can't tell us.
Three counties.
He can't tell us what to do.
The only 3 counties in the Northern Virginia.
But here's the thing: is what's the solution? But what's the solution? Because the government doesn't have authority over these private businesses. And that's where they're flexing right now is these private businesses. I mean, for just shits and giggles, I wanted to open my own store here in downtown and just say no entry without a Red Sox hat, because that's how ridiculous it is. You're not allowed. And I have a Red Sox hat for sale here if you don't have one, but you're not allowed to enter my building without a Red Sox hat because the masks don't stop spread. They create spread. Okay. They don't stop spread. They create spread. You're listening to 3 military veterans who have been trained to properly don and doff PPE. And I promise you,
Right.
And I promise you, no one knows how to safely take off a mask and safely put it on. So it's better off for you to just wash your damn hands, stop picking your nose, and be a responsible adult.
And go catch it. Go catch it and be done with it.
But here's the thing. There is a way to fix this. You penalize the businesses.
That's what I was trying to say. That's the fight.
But do you want precedent where government can punish business? This is
no.
Where, like, we got to dance with libertarian life.
The consumer.
Oh yeah, for sure. All day long.
Right. I mean,
yes,
look.
It's time for the American people to do something.
That's right. That's what I'm talking about.
But think
forget the government's lost.
Right.
Yeah.
If businesses can penalize a consumer for taxes, you know how they raise taxes on businesses and then businesses turn around and give it on the American people?
Yes.
Then these businesses can also be penalized from the consumer standpoint, or they can be penalized too, because once you know what business is doing that, the difference between today is celebration of Martin Luther King's Day, and the boycotts back then work. You know why? Because all people are on the same page. Mm-hmm. They looked and they say, you know what? If we all do this together, we all win together. They shut down the bus system. They didn't ride a bus for a year for close to a year, you know? And what happened? The bus system broke down and said, okay, sit where you want to. We don't have that today.
We don't have guts. People don't have guts.
Exactly.
You can't even get people to not log into TikTok for 24 hours.
Exactly.
They're not willing to sacrifice
Instagram,
anything
TikTok.
about their lifestyle today.
Look, if President Trump leave Twitter, if President Trump leave Twitter, I'm leaving Twitter. Well, President Trump is gone. Why are you still here? Is there anything else out there? You know, it's something else out there.
Oh yeah.
What about all these people that were going to leave the country?
Cancel Netflix. Yeah.
All these people were going to leave the country. They're still here. Mm-hmm. Whoopi Goldberg is still there. She's gaining a pound a day.
Got her own brand new chair. I mean,
she got her own zip code.
Speaking of boycotting businesses, I would like to point something out that maybe not everybody knows, and maybe you should just spread the word, you guys. Boycotting businesses, 100% do it, but also When they say, would you like to donate $1 to the Jimmy Fund, or would you like to donate $1 to Wounded Warriors Project? Whenever they ask you to donate $1, you're paying that company's taxes, because what they do is they compile all that money themselves and they donate it in their name to charity. And that is a tax write-off. They're getting you to pay their taxes. So anytime you see a corporation saying, we sponsor Susan G. Komen breast cancer cure, blah, it's they're doing it so they don't have to pay taxes on their revenue. That's what they're doing. So just be careful. If you want to donate to save the children, or donate to save some endangered bee or whatever, do it on your own time. Don't do it at the checkout because you think it's convenient and easy, because they collect millions of dollars that they then donate in their name to get a tax write-off on that charity. So the more you know.
So as I'm sitting here enjoying my MyPillow slipper moccasins, a year after dropping MyPillow, Bed Bath & Beyond shuttered 37 stores. Lack of inventory cost them $100 million.
Yep.
Wow.
You're stronger than you think you are, folks.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Tell somebody about the show that never watched it before.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
And, again, we were talking about Mike Lindell to start off the program. Here he is.
Right, and then I'm saying, just yesterday, why are they all of a sudden attacking again? All the news back there, why are they all attacking now? A year later, it's risen to a new level. You know why? Because all these great things are coming out. Not just where Arizona they're still getting stuff from the Maricopa audit, but it's coming out everywhere. So they want to deflect. It's called election deflection. And they want to try and silence our voice again. Just yesterday, did you all hear what they did to a great OAN? It's disgusting. DirecTV, owned by AT&T, told them that they're done. They're 75% of OAN, of you watching, you're not going to be able to watch OAN when their contract is up. And they did it for only one reason, to silence that. And this brings up the biggest problem we face is it's not the media, the fake news media. We're all on to them. It's the conservative media, the ones that don't talk. One of them rhymes with Fox, okay? Disgusting. They're disgusting. They won't talk about anything. When was the last time you seen anybody on Fox talk about the 2020 election? You're not going to see it.
Because they don't want to get sued.
It's a shame. It's a shame that we don't have at least one mainstream network that's talking about the other side of the political ideology of America.
Well,
and it's
you do.
Look how many of us there are, and you would think there would be one by now. I mean,
look, you guys, here's the thing is, if you want to know who the captive audience is for cable providers, all you have to do is look at who their advertisers are. It's all for like Cialis and Viagra and AARP and Depends. I mean, cable is going the way of the dinosaur. Okay, anybody that was born in 1970s and after, we don't even watch TV.
Gotcha.
All right, we don't even watch TV. I get all my news right here. I know who to follow. I know who to reach out to. I hear breaking news before Fox even catches on. Tucker Carlson is Monday morning quarterbacking 24 hours after our news cycle has already exhausted it. You know what I mean? So it's like, so when people are like, oh no, DirecTV is silencing so-and-so. Yeah, because they're trying to keep the elderly dumb, deaf, and blind. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to keep the elderly thinking that we want to throw grandma over a cliff and we don't love you unless we're wearing a hazmat suit to hug you. I mean, that's what it is. So here,
I
do me a
resemble that
favor.
remark.
Do me a favor. I mean, seriously, the reason why cable prices go up every single year, even though less and less people are watching it. Why? Because they're jacking up the prices of licenses, right? They don't have enough content anymore, so they have to jack up the licenses. Do yourself a favor. I promise you, you won't miss anything. Cancel your cable bill. Just get Wi-Fi.
That's what I have.
You can get live streaming for anything.
That's what I have.
I still have DirecTV Stream yet. I'm still hanging on a little bit, but
get rid of it. Let them know that they don't have you anymore.
Angel, a master sergeant told me one time, a man full of wisdom. I asked him because we had served together in Korea in 1984, and I saw him in Iraq. He was still serving, as was I. And he was married. He had married a Korean woman, and he had like grandchildren, right? He was married like 30 some years. I'm like, man, Master Sergeant, how'd you do that? He said, Chief, there's two things. You can either be right or you can be happy.
Yeah, I've seen that before.
I was like, damn, man, let me write that down.
Yeah.
So I still have DirecTV stream because of that.
Yep, you can be right.
I ain't messing with her Dancing with the Stars and Bachelor. No, I ain't messing with that. She's not watching the news, that's for sure.
Over the weekend, and I mean, I'm wondering because I know that people in DC know about what I'm trying to do. Because I don't like Kevin McCarthy. I really don't. I
Can't
don't
stand him.
I don't like Kevin. I don't like you. I don't like you. I don't like you. I don't like what you haven't done, and I don't like everything that you have done. So I saw this clip, and I've been sharing it all weekend.
Did you tell House Republicans on a January 11th phone call that President Trump told you he agreed that he bore some responsibility for January 6th, as Chairman Thompson's letter indicates?
I'm not sure what call you're talking about.
I say he has responsibility. He told me personally that he does have some responsibility. I think a lot of people do.
Remember when your parents used to tell you they'll judge you by the company that you keep? Frank Luntz is his landlord.
Mm-hmm.
What a snake. What a
I got you,
snake.
man. I got you, and everybody else got you. And I mean, the way that he looked when he was taking that question, he was caught. Okay, he was caught. He knows he's caught. He knows the American people is going to hear it, and he knows that he can't.
Did you tell House Republicans on a January 11th phone call that President Trump told you he agreed that he bore some responsibility for January 6th, as Chairman Thompson's letter indicates?
I'm not sure what call you're talking about.
Here's how stupid they are. Here's how stupid the left-wing media is. They ought to be ushering him into office. He's the best thing that could possibly happen to the Democrats is Kevin McCarthy.
There are a lot of Republicans that are the best thing that could ever happen to Democrats.
That is a fact. That's true. Very true. And if you had anything to thank, if Donald Trump went away right now, if you had anything to thank him for, it would be that knowledge, uncovering that. We would have been coasting. I don't know how far along you guys were understanding how bad the Republicans were before Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew we had some problems, but I thought it was like nuanced type problems.
Mm-hmm.
But to understand the disastrous Republican Party, the disastrous United States military general officer corps, I mean, that stunned me more than the politics side. Mm-hmm. When General Milley came out, I was like, and it started way before him. It started at Mattis and H.R. McMaster and Kelly and all the rest of them. And then it only ended with Milley. And I'm going, he's the top dog. It can't go any higher than that.
Let me give credit to us.
Right.
And what I mean us, I'm talking about us three, grassroots, Patriots, the Tea Party. We've been talking about this for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
We've been talking about now. Yes, I know me and Hutch, it took us a little bit while to accept the fact that both sides were the same type of stuff. But we've been talking about the problems for a long time. But when we talked about it, we were trying to reach the people in Washington, D.C. Look, this is what's happening. Look, what's going on. Look. And they didn't. When Trump came along, Trump didn't expose it. Listen, he didn't expose it. He gave a voice to it, a bigger voice than anybody could, because nobody was listening to us. The people in Washington, D.C. wasn't listening to us. But when Trump came along, Trump had the platform. Right. Trump listened. He saw the frustration. He saw that people walking away. He saw people turning their backs. And Trump already loved the country. He's been thinking about running for president for years. But after Twitter, listening to us complain, listening to us, cry, bitch, whine, moan, snot, all that stuff. He was like, she said that, said what? This and this and that. And when he started putting what we were saying in the public view, then that's when Washington, D.C. and the FBI and the other people start saying, oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. What's going on? No. You can't do that. You can't. No, you can't do that. We got to stop you here. They had to cut his voice because they don't like us. Period. They never have liked us on the right.
Because we represent power. We represent power. If they don't control us, they don't have power.
Exactly.
Right. They need us to be quiet so that their fairy tale land can still exist. I mean, nobody had a better field day than the elite during the COVID lockdowns. You watch them jet set, party. I mean, they had New Year's Eve 2021 all to themselves in Manhattan. Yeah. I mean, this is what they want. This is what they want.
Bill Gates and the Bezos and these people, they grew their freaking wealth by 10 times during COVID.
Mm-hmm. You know what? I heard
COVID had nothing to do with COVID.
Right.
It's all government.
Right. I heard that on WTOP this morning. They were like the billionaires got fatter and richer during the pandemic, while regular Americans and the poor got more poor.
Yeah.
During the pandemic.
Which is the plan, by the way.
Yeah.
I've said that since the first day I was on this show.
Yep.
The third time.
Yep.
I said that they are trying to destroy the middle class, because the middle class is what stands in the way of the 1% of the 1% and 100% power over everything.
Right.
We're the ones that stand in the way. And to your point, Wayne, about giving a shout out to us, here's how hard it is, because we know our audience and you guys are hardcore, but before us, you had Fox News. Now, all of a sudden, you got us. And every time we lay a painful truth bomb, and I remember this, Wayne,
mm-hmm.
I remember doing it with Bob Comey, and I remember
mm-hmm.
doing it with Trey Gowdy. When we called them out for the type of people they were, for the actions they were doing, we lost listeners.
Yeah, we did.
And we got hate.
You're right.
And it happens every time, and I'm not going to stop doing it because of that. I mean, it's something that I think that we owe you guys.
Angel, we had one of our people. I'm gonna stop listening to y'all because I like Trey Gowdy, and Trey Gowdy is one. Y'all just effing up now. Y'all don't know what the hell you're talking about and stuff. I'm gonna start watching y'all. I ain't gonna donate to y'all.
What's the name of that cartoon? What's the name of that cartoon rooster? That's what you sound like.
Foghorn Leghorn.
A foghorn Leghorn.
Boy, get your head out that long hair, boy.
But look. Some of y'all might not think. Some of y'all might think I'm playing, but hush, that happened, didn't it?
It did.
Oh, for sure.
It definitely did. And it happened with Comey. Comey was the most honorable person that was ever going to come to DC, and he was going to clean everything up. And I'm like, no, he ain't.
Nobody wants to find out that they've been lied to, right? Nobody wants to find out that they've been lied to. So when you call out bad players on our team, people will say you're just hurting our team. Like, no, we're cleaning our team up. We're cleaning our team up.
Who cares? Why do we like this team? What is this team going to do for us?
Right.
What have they done for us? Right. John McCain trying to get elected, build the dang fence. Gets elected, he's on the amnesty committee.
Look at Dan Crenshaw. I say more? I say more? Look at Dan Crenshaw. The thing is, these guys.
He just voted against giving the GI Bill to National Guard and reservists, like today.
I'm so glad you said that, because I've said that so many times. I was like, man, people run from the truth like it's a disease. They just, it's like people don't mind being lied to, but the lies make them feel good today. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to go. We'll be back tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want a little bit extra, tune in to us on Locals around 2 o'clock, and we'll have a little bit for you, a little exclusive extra material from the show. But for Angel and Hutch, we got to roll out. Thank all of y'all for tuning in. Make sure that you share the show. We're here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 12 to 1 Eastern Standard Time. You're dismissed.